What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to This Is the Way, my Mandalorian review series. My name is Kyle, your host. I just got done watching Season 1, Episode 6, The Prisoner. Some thoughts on this one, for sure. So basically, the quick kind of recap of this one. Mando goes to, I don't know if he goes to a distress signal or why he goes to sort of an old buddy. I think he might be just looking for refuge as well. But he's looking for money, maybe some credits to fix up his ship or get more fuel or whatever he's going to do. He goes to see, I think his name is Ranzar, is his character's name. He's from Sons of Anarchy too. But basically he's like, hey, I got a job for you, but we need your ship. And then there's like a whole cast of characters. This is like a heist movie, sort of, or, you know, they go to rescue a prisoner. Like, it's the cast of characters that makes this one, I think, the best episode so far in Season 1. So we get Bill Burr as Mayfield. We get Xi'an, who's like a Twi'lek, or kind of like the crazy girl in the group. We get Clancy Brown as Berg, which is like a big, looks like the devil, really. He's big and red, and he's the muscle. And then we get Zero, who's like an android who can hack into the ship and fly the ship and stuff. So it's a cool, like, ragtag group of characters. And Mando, you know, doesn't trust droids. But basically what they're saying is that, hey, it's a job, you know, there's a prisoner, we got to go get that prisoner and get him out there. We find out, he's like, well, you know, he wasn't, like, taken captive, he was arrested. He's like, that's a High Republic ship, like, he's like, it's highly, like, maximum security. He's like, I'm not going anywhere near that thing. And they're like, no, we need your ship, Mando, because it's not on any of the newer codes, like the Imperial codes or anything like that. So it's gonna, like, basically they can sneak at him undetected. And so reluctantly, Mando, like, gives up. He wants to pilot, but Ranzar is like, hey, Mando, he's like, you're great, but he's like, you're not better than this droid. And there's a couple good lines with Zero where he's like, don't worry, my reflexes are faster than an organic. And he's like, and I'm smarter too. And it's like, all right, okay, Zero, watch yourself, dude. Yeah, also, they made him look like a big, like, bug or like an ant. So that was an interesting design choice, but it makes for a cool, there's a lot of diversity in the gang for sure. But basically they jump on there. Zero jumps to light speed. He, like, hacks in, like we see R2-D2 usually does, or any droid does really, into the mainframe. And they go there, they find out Baby Yoda is kind of being hidden there, and Bill Burr's like, oh, what's going on here? You know, he's like, is this thing like a pet? And Mando's like, yeah, something like that. But he's like, Yoda, basically he's like, don't touch Baby Yoda, like, put him back there. There's a little bit of hostility because Berg is, like, looking for the weapons and Mando closes it. So that's a good sequence because Bill Burr is like, trying to find out more about Mando. He's like, oh, just take your helmet off. We find out that Xi'an, the chick, like, used to do missions with Mando, or they used to hook up or something because they have a history, and, you know, she's like, oh, a lady never tells. And Bill Burr's like, come on, Mando. He's like, we gotta trust you. Just take your helmet off. And there's, like, peer pressure. Berg is, like, trying to force it off there, and Mando, like, hands him his ass, basically, and then they get to the ship there. This begins, like, a cool stealth sequence, kind of like Mission Impossible-esque, where they go down there, and they do say that, like, the ship is all droids, as far as they know. And so they go down there. There's, like, the mouse, little mouse droid that's on any, like, Imperial ship, or maybe any High Republic ship, I'm not sure. But basically they get down there, and they're looking for all these prisoners. They go by, we see, like, different glimpses into the cells there, which is cool. But they take out a couple droids, and then they get overwhelmed, kind of, and they're like, Mando, like, what's the deal? I thought you were supposed to be this, like, the greatest warrior of the universe. And then Mando, like, sneaks behind them, and then that's where we get an awesome scene where he, like, cuts one of the legs off. He, like, flamethrowers one of the droids. He shoots one of them in the side of the head. Like, Mando just takes these dudes out, like, takes, like, one on five and just absolutely wrecks them. And so this is, like, the first really cool action sequence where we've seen Mando be, like, very, very tactical, and, like, he just does outstanding work. And this is where he actually lives up to his rotation as a Mandalorian right now, where the first few episodes we've seen him like struggle, whether it's just like with the Rhino or going against the Jawas. Like he's struggled up until this point, so this shows his growth that he is still an elite warrior, and he is kind of moving along that path to become a full-blown like Mandalorian with the armor and earning the status that a lot of people give him before they actually meet him. So kind of living up to the legend, I should say. So eventually they get to sort of like the main control room, and it turns out there's a human on the ship, which they did not expect, and he's got like a sensor, and they're like, and again, there's another office standoff. Bill Burr like gets in Mando's face. He's like, "Mando, get that blaster out of my face." And there's always just something off about this crew. Mando doesn't trust them, rightfully so. We find that they actually trick Mando because they go to get Quinn, who's the prisoner, who's like the male Twi'lek, and they like trick Mando and like kick him into the cell or something, and then like they lock him in there. Mando does get a little too easily because they go to leave, and Mando just like baits a droid over, cuts off his arm, and then like uses his arm to hack his own cell. I don't know, and he can also like reach to lock it. It was a little too convenient for my liking, but it was cool. But basically, they find out that they do end up killing the human host there, but he already pressed the sensor, so he already is sending the fleet to kind of come after them, or the distress signal. So basically, Mando, like, I don't know if it's Mando, but the ship starts like flashing lights, like this really cool like white and red aesthetic, like the alarms are going off. And Mando, now that he's been betrayed, he's like just hunting these guys down like one by one. Super, super cool, especially when like he's going after Bill Burr and like the lights are flashing in the background and you see him like slowly coming up like a horror movie. Visually, I think this is the best one so far. The one thing I didn't love about this episode, it felt very confined, where you can tell it looked like they're using the same set like over and over. And this is kind of what I have a problem with The Mandalorian in general so far. Watching this again for the second time, and especially like binging these, you can see the lack of production on a lot of things. The worlds feel very empty all the time, or the spaces feel very small, where it's like, yeah, he's going from like the shop or whatever Ranzar is in, then they go in the ship, and then they go to this like big Imperial ship, and they show the schematic of it. It's like this big long ship, but it seems like they just like use the same corridors, and the corridors look great. It's like that bright white. If you've ever been in like an Imperial ship, it looks great, but it's that gets sold because it's like they turn the corner and it's like the same corner, and so you can kind of pick up on those things. Again, I know it's not a Star Wars movie, so they're not gonna have the same budget, especially because they gotta, base it out, or spread it out, I should say, into 8 different episodes, and then I don't know how many are going to be in season 2, but 8 to 10 episodes. It's not just a 2-hour, multi-billion-dollar movie budget, so there are some limitations, so that's to be understood, but they do kind of stick out because you can see that they spent a lot of value or production value on like the set pieces, but they're not very big, so it becomes very noticeable when you spend a lot of time in the same space there. But overall, I think this is the best one. I'm going to give it a 9.1. I think it's the best one so far. Aesthetically, the action is the best so far. We get like a twist here where Mando doesn't really trust the group, but we think the group's with him. Turns out they're just trying to trick Mando. We saw a little bit of that last episode, but I thought that twist was kind of cheesy. This one I thought was done a little bit better, but Mando does eventually kind of one-up them. There's a cute scene at the end with Baby Yoda where he's like, I told you that was a bad idea, but he like unscrews a little knob. It's like Baby Yoda's toy now and gives it to him, so they keep going on. But yeah, aesthetically, action-wise, story-wise, it's really cool at the end too, because when Ranzar turns on Mando, they used to like run the crew together or whatever. He's like, as soon as Mando leaves, he's like, kill him. So they try to turn one over on Mando again, but Mando set the tracker to the base so that the 3 X-Wings come in at the end and they just blow that base up, which is awesome because it's always cool to see X-Wings, and they're like oh yeah, that's our tracking signal. And he's like, yeah, they're trying to send a gunship out. And he's like, just blow it up. So Mando saw that coming, so he's one step ahead, and him and Baby Yoda are on to the next adventure there. So yeah, the best one so far. But I would hope that, I hope they have more of a budget for season 2. I know with COVID everything's been crazy, but I'd like to see more. I did like the episode, but I would like to see it feel more like, even the pilot I think felt a little bit more natural. This one, you can tell, I think the limitations are starting to show, but still a good time, and I think Disney still did a good job with it, so that's why I'm going to give it a 9-1. Alright guys, well that is season 1 episode 6 of This Is the Way. I've been your host Kyle. Please check out the other episodes. Again, this is like a mini review, so these are just very quick episodes, 10-15 minutes most. Sometimes some of them are even shorter depending on what happened in the episode, but I'm going to try to talk about kind of my best scenes and what I liked about the episode, what I didn't like, give it a score. So very, very like condensed version of my normal reviews, or the reviews I do with my friends there. So but thank you guys so much either way for joining, checking out the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe if you can. Look for the other episodes. We're trying to get these through so we can get caught up to season 2. Until next time guys, this is the way.